Oh my goodness. Whew. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. We will start shortly. Good evening. Looking forward to seeing all of your smiling faces here tonight. We are right at the finish, almost to the finish line. Not right, but almost to the finish line. We are in our final week of classes, believe it or not. So looking forward to seeing you guys tonight, talking about some great resume writing tips and tools and resources. We'll get started in just a few minutes, okay? Give it about 4 more minutes and then we'll get started because we don't want to delay the time. You guys were here on time. So I guess while we wait, since you're here, how you can unmute or you can put it in the chat. Tell me how well, okay, it's Monday, so we can't talk about this week. Tell me how your last week was. I don't think I got to see you guys because I was actually out of town for my first official conference as councilwoman-elect. And so I was away all week last week, but I'm told that the classes went very well last week. And what are you looking forward to this week? Something in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. What's everyone doing this week? What's happening this week? What are we all looking forward to?
My last week was hectic, especially the weekend because it was dance weekend.
Okay.
I had a dance rehearsal for like 5 hours on Saturday, and then
my goodness.
Monday it took like 3 hours to get ready, and then I was yelling at little kids to get on stage at the right time. So I lost my voice in the process.
Sounds fun.
This week, I'm excited.
Well, what kind of dance do you do?
Bharatanatyam is Indian classical dance.
Very nice. Oh wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So if you come to the gala, you want to dance for us?
Maybe. Maybe.
I kid. I don't want to put you on the spot, but that's awesome. That's a great talent. I love dancing. I'm not the best at it, but that's for another day.
It's fun. Everybody can dance. They just need the right mentor. So
I love it. I love that spirit of positivity. All right. Who we have? Let's see. Hey, Excel. Hey, Michael, Kendall, but Melena, Layla. Let me see your beautiful faces online. Handsome face. I see Michael there. I'd love to see Kendall, Melena, and Layla. We're going to have a fun and interactive and engaging class today. We have a couple more minutes. So, Michael, tell me what you're looking forward to this week. Been lots of work. Oh, end of the marking period too. Yes, yes. Very, very busy. I recall those times. I don't miss those times. But there's light at the end of this tunnel because you guys are almost there. You're almost at the finish line, and you all are truly doing phenomenal work. So how do you think you fared, Michael? Think you did all right? Yeah, I think you did
so.
fine.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
presenting.
a lot of presenting. Okay.
A lot of exams, like
Okay.
2-day exams. Like I'm still going through it, but once the break comes, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. So I guess that's something you're looking forward to then. The 4-day break. You guys are in school on Wednesday, right? And then you're off Thursday through Monday or through Sunday, obviously.
Yeah, half day
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah, half day Wednesday. Okay, nice. How about you, Excel? How was your last week, or what are you looking forward to this week?
My last week was okay. It was stressful, a lot of schoolwork, and this week I'm looking forward to bowling tryouts, making sure I get in.
Bowling! Wow,
Yeah.
you guys are like seriously amazing me here. Do we got a dancer on the line? We have a bowler, professional. Are we doing like professional league type stuff? What's happening here?
It's from my school. They're really, really good. They're like the only sports that like they have like a lot of wins, and like if they fail, it's just like one game. Like everyone in the bowling team, they're in league. So like I really hope I get in.
Yeah, that is awesome. Wow. Oh man, we may have to do a bowling trip or something. And then do a dance recital just because you guys do all of this stuff. That's amazing. All right, let's see, Layla. What are you looking forward to, or how was your previous week?
So me and Excel go to the same school, and
Okay.
we're both trying out for bowling tomorrow.
Let me guess. Linden High School?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. First of all, you guys just taught me something new, because as many times as I've been to Linden High School to present and to meet you guys there, I never knew that you all had such a phenomenal bowling team. That's amazing. That's fun facts for me. That's awesome. All right, Kendall, how about you? Coming in now.
This week was Spirit Week, so I mean last week was Spirit Week, so that was really fun. And this week everybody's like doing something cool. I'm just really looking forward to Black Friday shopping, honestly.
Oh my goodness. Is that even a thing anymore? I feel like nobody goes shopping anymore. Like,
I'm getting up so early to go to the mall for the opening of the doors.
Okay, you have to call me, because I might have to hook up with y'all and see what's really going down at the mall, because people don't do those things anymore. But that's so awesome. Yes, make sure you email us and some deals, or text message us by WhatsApp. Let us know what deals they got going on, and maybe I might meet you there. Don't spend too much either. Remember, we had our financial class, right? So make sure you budget. All right. How about you, Aurora? It looks like you're just getting online here. So how was your previous week, or what are you looking forward to this week? You're muted. All right, while she's getting situated, we're going to come back to you, Aurora. Milena, can we see your beautiful face, please?
Oh,
And then tell me how
can I turn my camera? Can I keep my camera off for a few minutes? I'll turn it on later, I promise. But my
Okay.
my past weekend has been very good.
Okay.
And this weekend I'm looking forward to the Thanksgiving break.
Yes, awesome, awesome. What are you
Thank
looking forward
you.
to the most? Eating? Cooking?
Yeah.
Are you helping with the meal? Or are you just eating?
Yeah, mostly like cooking, eating, and praying. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Love it, love it. All right. Did we miss anyone? I don't believe so. Aurora, are we back? We back online? Still having issues with your... You can type it in the chat if you want. All right. So Aurora, we're gonna make sure that we get back to you before the class is over, so we can learn about your... Oh, okay. Looks like she's having some technical difficulty, so
She said
hopefully
she's
will be
gonna
back on.
rejoin real quick.
Oh, I didn't see them. Okay, that was in the chat. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited to present to you tonight's class, because we are going to dive into resume writing and building, right? We're going to talk about some of the tips, tools, resources, as I mentioned earlier, about resumes and how to effectively write rather, a resume that's going to stand out above the rest, right? Many of you are looking to become entrepreneurs. Many of you are looking to go into the corporate world or corporate setting. Some of you are looking to go into culinary. Some of you are looking to go into other avenues of occupations and career paths, right? And with all of those, you have to have a way to present yourself in a way. So Michael talked about presenting. He presented. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow in tomorrow's class. So hopefully, Michael, you're not presented out, because Miss Latoya is going to give you guys a great overview on presenting and communication. But tonight we're talking about resume building, right? And so even though you all are high school students, now's the time to start setting up for success, right? And a way to do that is to start working on your resume. So if you all have heard us talk a lot about volunteerism, you heard us talk a lot about the things that we do in and around the community, a lot of what we do as a nonprofit organization, and a lot of what we do as individual entrepreneurs and individual subject matter experts in our fields, right? We have to have something that supports what we do, right? Something that's tangible that we can actually give to someone that can prove our credibility, right? That can prove that we actually have skills, we actually have experience, we actually have the know-how, right? to be able to accomplish whatever it is that we're looking out or setting out to accomplish, right? So whether you're looking for a specific job, whether you're looking to open a business and someone wants to know more about you, you need something that's going to set you above the rest, right? You need something that's going to speak on your behalf, but on paper, okay? And so tonight we're going to be talking about, and let me pull up my presentation. Tonight, we're going to be talking about resume building. All right. And I'm excited about this because there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to, you know, to take away from this particular class. And so I'm really excited to get started with this. I just want to make sure I'm pulling up pulling up my presentation. Sorry, give me a second. All right, so, okay. I'm going to presentation mode. All right, can everyone see my screen and my presentation? Yes?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Miss Rosie McCamry. Many of you know me, you know a little bit about my background. There's a lot that I do, right? And so there's a lot of great things about me. There's a lot of experience that I have. There's a lot of things that I've done. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities or you know, volunteer work that I've done around our communities, specifically with S.O.A.R, but in other facets as well, other organizations and you know, school settings and you name it, I've done it. I'm in the military. I've worked in academia for 9 years or 8.5 years before I resigned to do this full time for S.O.A.R. Prior to me working in academia, I worked in the hospital, right, in New York City. I worked at Sloan Kettering. So there's so many things about me. I have a master's degree in public administration. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, right? So all of these things about me, it's great for me to tell you this, right? But in order for me to make an impression on you, there's something that's called the resume. Okay. And we're going to go into what a resume is. But essentially, for me, my motto is your resume is your professional bragging rights. And that's essentially what we're going to talk about here tonight in this class. So for our objectives, and I'm going to ask Miss C or Miss Latoya if you guys wouldn't mind manning the chat, just because I'm going to shrink my little window here so I can see all of my presentation. So upon completion of this segment, scholars will be able to create a practical resume that you can use for colleges, internships, and scholarships. You're going to employ best practices when putting together a resume, and you're going to identify common resume errors and avoid making them, among other things, right? But these are the main things that we want you to walk away with, main objectives for tonight's class, all right? And we also have some exciting activities to go through as well. I tend to speak fast, right? I'm constantly presenting, constantly talking to people, constantly trying to get my point across. And so I tend to, you know, in that effort, try to speak as fast as possible, get all the information out as I need to. That being said, if I am going too fast, if I'm talking too fast, if I lost you somewhere on this path of resume greatness, please let me know so that I can slow down. All right. What is a resume and why is it important? Can someone read the first bullet for me?
A resume is a document used to highlight one's professional and academic background, skills, and accomplishment. 1 to 2 pages.
1 to 2 pages. Remember that. You may see that again, and we will talk about that. Can I get someone to read the second bullet and then someone to read the third and so on?
Used to secure employment in industry, nonprofit, and public sectors.
Excellent. Thank you.
You may also hear the term CV or curriculum vitae, more detailed account of credentials, academic accomplishments, etc. Number of pages vary.
Excellent.
It's considered persuasive writing.
Excellent. What does that mean? Because you guys just had your writing class, right? The business writing class. So this is sort of somewhat of a recap of that. Can someone tell me what persuasive writing is based on your previous class with Miss C?
It's I'm sorry. It's kind of like a way for in business for like you to be able to like persuade a consumer to want to get your product or to like use your service.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Anyone else?
Just what Aurora said, just to like get your point across, like a focus point or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Yes, all of the above. Great job, Miss C. So these are some standard good practice resume writing tips. Want to make sure that it's tight. And you guys, yeah, no, I don't think we share this with you guys in the Google Classroom. So make sure you take some notes on these things, because it's really going to, help you when you're starting your own resume. Okay, it's really going to be at an advantage for you all to take notes as we're going along, to help you better prepare for your resume, your own resume. All right, we wanted to make sure it's neat. We want to make sure that it's error-free. 1 page, 2-page max. Okay. Again, there's that there's that rule of thumb. Okay. 1 page, 2-page max. 1 page, I will tell you right now, for high school students, you probably will have no more than 1 page for a resume, right? Because you don't have any working, or you might, but many of you are may be too young to work right now, so you may not have any working experience, but you will likely have extracurricular activities that you're into. You'll have some school, after school activities, whether it's being a mentor or being a tutor, right? And you may have some volunteerism under your belt that you can actually add to that resume. But all in all, it's likely that your resume will still not exceed 1 page. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the 2-page rule in a second. The proper format. Make sure we have a proper format in place for your resumes, and we'll go through a couple of examples. And I also, hopefully you all received the email for tonight. I also have it in the Google Drive, but you'd have to like download and copy it in order to use that particular form, so as not to kind of overwrite each other's work on the one document that's in there. So I sent you all a separate document, Word document, that you all are going to work on collectively throughout the class. All right, or at some point during this class. Proper format: active voice. Tell us what you do. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about active voice and the difference between active and passive voice. Now, did you all discuss that? I believe you all did discuss some of that during Miss C's class as well. Correct me if I stand corrected, but did anyone remember, or does anyone recall hearing anything or learning anything about active versus passive voice in business writing? If not,
No.
it's okay. Okay, so we'll talk about that tonight, but that goes just not just with writing, but in everything that you do in terms of speaking as well, right? And we'll talk about that and how that can really impact, make or break your resume, make or break your presentation, make or break your pitch, whatever it is you want to speak, and make sure that you're confident in what you're telling everyone that you're experienced in, right? You want to make sure that you're confidently telling everyone all of the accolades and everything that you've accomplished, and quantify that, right? Don't just tell me, prove it. Like, tell me and give me numbers. I want proof that you know exactly what you're doing, and I want to be able to quantify that. I want you rather to be able to quantify that and tell me what impact has it had, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit as well.
Not
Be
in that
honest.
context, Rosie.
Huh?
It was an overview, but not in that context, that
Okay.
depth you're saying.
Got you. Okay. Well, we touched on it, and that's all we can, that's great. Great segue into this class. And then be honest and clear and concise. Okay. So here we are, active voice versus passive voice. Okay. And we put passive in little light colors, right, to distinctly sort of make that differentiation between what an active voice does sound like, and what a passive voice sounds like, and what an active voice should sound like. Okay. So was responsible for organized events, was tasked with managing a team of 5. Now, these are points that are highlighted in, or could be highlighted rather, in your resume, right? And it's basically telling you the right way versus the wrong way to write in your resume what you've accomplished, right? What experience you have. The social media campaign was created by me. Created a social media campaign, right? Getting to the point, making sure that you stay that focus, right? You stay the subject of that particular, whatever it is that you know, that area that you're discussing, but you also want to make sure that it, you know, you're describing the action as well, describing the verb, okay? So reports were analyzed by team, analyze reports, and you also want to make sure that you simplify it too, right? Simplify it, but make sure it's impactful. Okay, and so these are some of the differences between passive and active. You know, and sometimes you don't need to, sometimes less is more, right? And in this case, less is more. Get to the point, right? Led training sessions. Training sessions were led by me. Sometimes it sounds like a little bit of fluff, right? A little bit of, you know, just extra that your recruiters are really not going to be interested in. Just get to the point. Okay, and then emails responded to emails daily. So you're basically saying the same thing. It's how you say it. So essentially in this manner, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Okay. Key takeaways for active voice: use strong action verbs at the beginning of each bullet point. Remember that those last 2 words, bullet point. Very, very important, because that's how you're going to structure your resume. Okay, and it's very important that you understand that. Eliminate was, were, or by phrases. And again, as I mentioned, keep the subject you implied, but the focus on your actions. So what did you do? Okay, what did you do? Not what was created by, but just tell me what you did. I created, without saying I, right? You don't want to put it in what they call pronoun sense. You want to basically use the action verb to identify what it was that you did, but again, in an active voice. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, great. I haven't gotten any no's. I don't know if we have any no's in the chat. Do we have any no's in the chat? Because I'm going to test this theory now.
No no's.
Excellent. All right, here we go. Can someone give me an active voice role or accomplishment that you have, or some experience that you have, but give it to me in an active voice? So for instance, Snigdha, you're a dancer, right?
Yes.
That's you know, something that you're experienced in. Give me something that defines or describes at least one thing about dancing for you, and what you've been able to accomplish in your ability to dance, and you know.
I was gonna say, learned dance and music for a decade. Would that work?
No, so that's still passive, because you're telling me you learned, as opposed to saying danced for a decade.
Okay.
You know, or yeah, or you know, even successfully is kind of jargon, or like almost like cliche wording. So you want to be careful with the filler words, or the fluff words, not the filler, but the fluff words. We'll get into that as well. But just outright saying dance for 10 years, right? Successfully dance for 10 years. So you see how it says was responsible for organizing events, organized events, right? It's sometimes simple. It less is more, right? Just get to the point, be simple about it, and make sure that you're getting your point across. One more, Michael. You want to open up a restaurant, yes? And serve empanadas. Do you have any experience? Or can you tell me what experience you've had in any other area that you can use active voice for?
I was gonna put assisted and trained new employees in a high volume restaurant.
What word can we take out? Somebody help Michael out. Can anyone help Michael out with that?
I think he can take out the can.
Nope.
No.
Say it again, Michael.
Assisted and trained new employees in a high volume restaurant.
Okay, can someone help Michael out? What word? One word.
He said assisted. So and
Yes, there you
it's
go.
past tense, so he could say train train employees like
There's the
something
key
like that.
word. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And it's not even about the past tense as it is the passive versus active, right? So your passive would say, I assisted in, as opposed to saying trained 20 employees to A, B, and C, or train 20 employees. Does that make sense? So we don't really care to hear that you assisted, but what did you do as an individual? So you trained, right? You didn't just assist, but you actually trained. And that's what you want to do. You kind of want to take ownership of that particular level of experience that you've had. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so we're moving right along. And we'll get back to this again. So what to include in your resume? You want to highlight education and credentials, include relevant experience. Again, we talked about that. Showcase your skills, list accomplishments, not duties. Okay, tailor your resume to the job. Consider the format. Use examples if necessary, and proofread. Okay, proofread. That's a key element to having a successfully written resume. Okay, and you could consider writing or using rather a template. Okay, it helps you outline the flow, organize your thoughts, prioritize. Right, what you want, how you want to put it, how you want it laid out. There is an order by which your resume should be listed out, right? So, and there's a difference between a student's resume versus an adult resume. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay. How long should your resume be? Again, we talked about that earlier in the class. Here we go again. Standard 1 page, but no more than 2. And what's the rule of thumb for each? If it's 1 page, who would that necessarily?
For
Who are we
students.
referring to? For students, right? And then for the 2 pages, that's more for professionals, right? Those who have had that experience in the workforce, and they have, they may have more, 7 to 10 years worth of work experience. That's generally when you'll see like a 2-page document. But there may be some who just started in the workforce, and they don't, they may still have a 1-page resume because they don't have as much experience. But when you start getting 7 to 10 years, which 10 is essentially the max, but we kind of try to, kind of take it closer to 7 years worth of work experience, relevant work experience. And that relevant work experience based on whatever job you're looking to go after, right? So always remember that as well. Your work experience, whatever you're putting into that resume. And again, we just mentioned, right? Make sure that it's relevant. Make sure that you have a resume that talks or speaks to that particular job that you're going for. If you have specific skill sets and experience in that particular area, you want to make sure that you highlight those things. Okay, don't just put jobs in there just for the sake of putting jobs. It's important that you are reading what the job or the criteria is for that particular job so that you can then pull out from your own experience how you can be an asset to that particular organization or company. Okay, and remember, don't lose your reviewer. Okay, so again, don't use a lot of, and I'm saying using the term jargon, but that's really just using a lot of fluff words, using a lot of excess words, run-on sentences, long paragraphs. Be very mindful of your writing technique when you're putting together your resume, and that's again why we're here, so we can help support you in that when you're ready to build your resume. Remember the triple S rule. You only have 7 solid seconds to wow them. What does that mean? What do I mean by 7 solid seconds to wow them?
After the I feel like by that you mean like after the 7 seconds, the engagement might like be lost after that, and they'll just have like no interest in your resume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you want to make sure that it's impactful from the very moment that they open up your billfold and they see that resume in there with your cover letter, right? They want to be able to see, oh, wow. Oh, snap. This girl got some talent. This girl is experienced. guy is experienced, right? You want to make sure that that's what they see when they open up your resume to review it. All right. And then again, less is more. Stick to the point. List achievements, not responsibilities. All right. They are not concerned with the tasks that you've been assigned, right? So, you know, I've been assigned to work as a dishwasher. I've been assigned to wash dishes, or I washed 10 dishes today. Like, they don't want to know that. What did you do, and how did that impact the company's overarching goals, or their mission, or whatever it is that they're trying, their end goal on what they're trying to accomplish within their company? What you did it impact anyone that day, or did it impact anyone that week, right? You want to make sure that you're able to pull the best out of that experience. Okay, tell how well you performed it. Again, quantify it too, right? So if we can give a numbers, you know, 50% of customers engaged in a product that I produced, or a product that I created, right? Something to that effect. You want to be able to prove that. Okay. And how, again, does it impact the organization's goal and mission? And don't be afraid to brag. Bring all you got. Okay. Again, bragging rights. Update your resume often. Your resume grows with you, and your resume precedes you. What does that second bullet mean? Actually, what do both of those mean? Your resume grows with you, and your resume precedes you. What does that mean?
Your resume grows with you basically means that as you go into that career, if you do get accepted, of course you're going to learn new skills that go with that job. So it grows with you because those skills might be applicable for other jobs that you might have in the future. And your resume precedes you because basically your resume is what the employer sees, and that's what the employer knows about you before anything else, before they know you on a personal level. So that's important.
Okay, have you taken this class before? Did you watch some of our videos before? Because you are absolutely spot on. You are absolutely right, and you gave both points eloquently. Yeah, I don't even have to explain anymore. Does anyone have any questions about that? I'm gonna let Snigna take over this class right now, because that was phenomenal. Absolutely, right? Your resume grows with you. So as you grow professionally, as you grow individually, your resume is also going to grow with you. And your resume is what they see before they meet with you. Your resume is going to speak for you. Again, which is why you need to make sure that it's a powerful representation of who you are as an individual, as a professional, and as someone who is going to help turn, or help grow the business exponentially, right? Help grow the organization exponentially because of your skill set, because of your experience. You're so confident, right? And your resume is going to speak volumes for you. Great job, Snigna. Thank you. All right, customize your resume. Don't use the same resume for every job. Again, just expanding on how it's important to make sure that you have a resume for every, not necessarily a resume for every job, but make sure that it's tailored, right, for that particular job. Highlight your skills, qualities, experience. Again, use bullet format. I mentioned earlier that that was something that you guys would want to make sure to remember. Make sure to use bullet format. Okay, avoid the long paragraphs, avoid the run-on sentences when you're not writing a book, right? You want to make sure that that you have bullet formats just the same way we do in presentations. And again, we mentioned earlier that Ms. Toya is going to take it home with the presentation class tomorrow, but she's going to talk about different techniques to use when you are presenting, when you're preparing for your final end of course presentation, right? You want to just give points, give just a little bit, right? Give enough for them to want to learn more about you in person. Don't give it all to them, but give them enough for them to want to know more about you in person. I think I saw something in the chat. Let's see. Are you allowed to bold things? No. Highlight? No. Great questions. No. You want to keep it simplified. You don't want to bold because you don't want to imply that they're not seeing or identifying what you've put in your resume, right? You don't want to imply that you're trying to showcase anything, one thing more than the other. They're going to be able to see that. And you also don't want to imply that they don't know what they're doing by highlighting or bolding words, right, that you think they might miss. No. And again, there's an algorithm in there, or there's a system in place too, that we'll talk about in just a little bit, that actually identifies keywords. So it's not necessarily about the bolding or font or style of word itself. It's actually the word, like whether or not that word is a keyword in what the job description is looking for. And it's all through a specific system. So what a lot of HR divisions do now is they pull your resume goes from the application process, right? You complete an application, whether online or paper, you submit that along with your resume, and then that goes through like a digital system, right? And as part of that system, it's called ATS, and we'll go through that. I don't want to jump ahead. But that is where the system actually sort of sifts out your resume, the good versus the not so good, right? The ones that are gonna make it to the next round and the ones that are not. So before the resumes even hit the HR people and the hiring directors, it's actually going through this system, and the system is going to weed out the good and the bads. Okay, does that make sense? Excellent. All right. Avoid buzzwords, keywords. Remember, I said that earlier today. We want to avoid cliches, avoid fluffing, avoid anything that's going to, make your sentences drag, or, just sort of longer than necessary, right? Anything that's going to just make it seem like you pulled it out of a thesaurus, right? There are, or that you pulled it. And GPT is a phenomenal tool to use, but be careful even using that tool, right? Because sometimes Chat GPT is very sophisticated in that it can sound a certain way that you don't sound, right? And so you want to make sure that you're not using words that are just unnecessary, are fluff. Okay. And based on Financial Samurai, which is a website that talks about resumes, and the application tracking system, the ATS, which is what I mentioned earlier, roughly 90%, going back to my previous statement, of Fortune 500 companies are using applicant tracking systems to screen resumes. In addition, about 70% of larger companies and 20% of smaller companies use that system as well. Very, very important to note, okay? So what you want to do is make sure you get the job description and ensure that some of the words, without, it's not really plagiarizing, but without, being too obvious that you've used those words, right? You have to make sure that you put it in your own words, but make sure you're pulling out keywords that are in the job description. And you can use those and then expand on that with your own experience, okay? And that is, again, that's on the professional and that's on, academic side. So if you're just a student, and I don't say just a student lightly, I mean, if you're a student in that you have not had any professional experience as of yet, but you've done other things that you want to highlight, absolutely. And it may be that you're applying for a scholarship, right? A lot of times high schools or college, maybe you're looking to get into a specific league, right? Maybe the bowling league. They might want to see what kind of experience you have in bowling before they select you, right? You never know. So you always want to make sure that you're one step ahead, but you got to have these key tools in place to understand what makes a good resume. So here we are. Replace buzzwords with strong action verbs. Again, we talked about the action verbs earlier today, right? So instead of managed, try directed, guided, facilitated, recruited, so on and so forth. Instead of helped, you can try coached, represented, referred, facilitated. Instead of created, you can try designed, originated, developed, shaped. Those are all active action verbs. Okay. All right. And this is what you don't want to do in this new generation. Oh, wait. I don't know if you guys I'm going to have to stop sharing for 1 second because I did not share my sound. So give me 1 second. How is everybody feeling so far? Is everyone okay so far? Yeah, can I get a thumbs up in the chat if you're doing all right? Let me know if I'm going too fast. I want to make sure that you guys are following. Okay, give me a thumbs up in the chat if everything is good. Yes, I love the thumbs. Thank you. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, if you have questions, put them in the chat or just unmute yourself to ask, okay? All right, and hopefully now you guys will be able to hear my sound. Let me make sure that it's not too high. All right, and here we go.
PTI, I need the PDF, COB, AKA EOD. What's the ETA?
ASAP, FYI.
LMK.
HBD Gordon. HBDY.
Oh, wow, look at this GIF. It's GIF. FWIW.
ROTFL.
You see my IM?
TLDR.
What?
Too long. Didn't read.
Okay.
We don't need any more acronyms, but we could all use more ways to save.
BMX, YOLO!
Switch to Geico for more ways to save.
SMH.
ROFL did this video. Share with your BFFs. And BTW, don't get FOMO. There's more great Geico content. So hit subscribe ASAP. TY. Larry.
PT.
All right, so you guys get the point, right? Stay away from abbreviations. Stay away from what the acronyms, right? Everything in this generation, I promise you, like you guys, it's almost like a whole new way of communicating. You got every teenager that I know uses acronyms for something. So you probably understood those entire conversations in there just because of all the acronyms that we use on a day-to-day basis. It's a cultural thing now, right? You got to be careful though. Be very judicious in that you don't want to use acronyms. You don't want to use symbols, emojis, right? You want to make sure that you are, sorry, my son's walking in here. You want to make sure that you are sticking to the point, that you're spelling out your words. Do not use abbreviations, okay? Any questions about that? All right, moving right along. Some of this stuff is just, it's common sense, right? But, and I don't mean in a sense that common sense for you is just, I feel like it's just in general, right? In writing period, you guys are high school students now. You know, when you're writing your persuasive papers or you're writing, whatever papers you're doing in school right now, you can't use that type of jargon. You can't use acronyms to explain something unless you're writing it out, right? You want to make sure that you understand just the basic fundamentals of an adequate or an appropriate resume, a professional resume, okay? If fresh out of college or still in high school with no real experience, you're going to place your education and all of your academic achievements at the top of the resume, okay? And we'll kind of look at a couple samples. After being in the workforce for about a year or 6 months to a year, you can move your education down and move your experience up, okay? Any questions about that? All right. So for instance, Edgar Jimenez is a student, okay? And it looks like his education, although I don't know how good of this is all looks like maybe volunteer work, I'm not sure. But anyway, it appears that his education is up here because he is a student with potential volunteerism, right? Volunteer work that he's done, but not necessarily any actual paid work, okay? Although that should be listed as volunteer and not experience. But that's for a whole other day. All right, and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a professional profile platform, professional social media platform that many use to seek out talent and many use to put themselves out there as the talent, right? So last year we attempted to do, to create LinkedIn profiles for everyone. It didn't necessarily go the way that we had planned it. And so we're gonna table that for now. But if you all are interested individually in creating a LinkedIn profile and you do not already have one, we can help set that up for you. We will need to get consent from your parents, but if you're interested in that, we can help you set up a LinkedIn profile, okay? But studies show that those who take time to maintain their professional, not free, although free is good as well. If it's free, it's for me, and you can do a lot on a free platform. But LinkedIn profile pages will likely garner more attention and land the interview over someone who doesn't have a paid version. Obviously with paid, right, you get all these other bells and whistles, but free, will also suffice for certain things. Okay, you just have to be consistent in promoting yourself. Spelling and grammar. Proofread. Did you catch that? Good. Proofread. Have someone else, fresh set of eyes, look over your resume to catch anything you may have missed. You can also use AI-generated tools or scanners to help proof your resume for you. Okay, you are not alone. You also have a plethora of resource right here on this line to help you and to support you in that effort. So do not ever feel like you're alone in this, because you are not. And look at that. We are on our break. 10 minutes. All right. It is now 7:16. If you guys will be back by 7:26, we will roll into our second half of this class and move right along, full speed ahead. Any questions? Do we have any questions from our audience? Let's hear some questions before we start. Let me get like 1 minute. Do we have any questions? Okay, I see some stuff in the chat. Let me see what we have in the chat. Oh, back at 7:20. Yes. But before we go, we'll extend your time. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any thoughts about anything that's been covered thus far? Anyone have any?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have like volunteer work, would you just like say that you've done it too, or like, because at my school personally, we have like a sheet that has like our hours and everything, and I don't know, like I want to know how that would work.
Yes, absolutely. Again, that's a great way to quantify the work that you have done as well. So if you have the number of hours that you put into whatever the work is that you've done for volunteerism, absolutely. And then talk about what you did and how your volunteerism impacted the people, or the groups or whomever, how it impacted them, right? What you were able, how you accomplished, or whatever you accomplished, how did that impact you? Right? How did it impact the numbers? How did it impact the people? So absolutely, definitely put that on there. And again, that's going to be your highlighted focal points, because you wouldn't have the work experience. So the volunteerism is what comes next, in addition to, again, the education, extracurriculars, and so on. Social clubs, right? If you're a part of that. So certainly. Any other questions?
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
One of them is, for our resumes, do we have to add like what proof, meaning like contact information of people like you've done the volunteer for?
No, that would be on like your reference, letter of reference. So you have a letter of reference, which is separate from your resume. And that is where, if you wanted to include a director or someone in the leadership position that you've worked with for volunteerism, and somebody, they may likely ask to provide that information, like give us 3 references of the people that you've worked with or for, who can validate your work ethic, or who can validate the volunteer work that you've done. So, but that's a separate document. And that generally goes along with, you have a cover letter that kind of is just kind of like a brief overview of who you are and what you can bring to the table. And then you have your resume, and then you have your letter of references. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your second question?
And how can people, like all of us, use like AI for like our resume writing? Like, what do you think would be like the more like valid way of using it, and what's not as valid?
Yeah, that's a great question. Be very careful when using AI. AI is a very resourceful tool, and you're going to hear that a lot in the business world. You're going to hear that a lot. Academia, maybe not so much, because your teachers may want you to steer clear of using that, right? But it is absolutely a resourceful tool for for a lot of things. For your resume, what I would say is, and what I normally would suggest is, you do the writing first, right? Because it's coming from you. So AI is not going to be able to describe who you are and what you do, or what you've done and what you've accomplished as an individual, as a professional, as a volunteer, as a student, right? You're going to have to be able to vocalize that right? You're going to have to be able to describe who you are as an individual. And then what you can do is once you've written it out, once you've created your outline for it, so you have your volunteer work, you have your education, you have your your contact, however it's there. So let me go in order: your contact, your education, your volunteer work, your skills. Okay, so your skills are what you are specifically or especially good at. Okay, and then you may have like hard skills and soft skills. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but your hard skills could be, something that you're great in with Microsoft Office or, Excel, or and then your soft skills are just your managerial skills. You're great with people, right? You are a good communicator. Those are soft skills, kind of almost like, professional characteristics, if you will. Okay, those are more like soft skills. And I believe Miss Latoya will talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. But you have your soft skills and your hard skills. So again, list that out, outline it the way that it's supposed to be outlined, right? And we'll go through some of those examples for you. And then just plug that into Chat GPT or AI. And then just ask it to review it and revise it, or you know what I mean, like make it look how it should look in a resume, how it should be worded in the resume, right? You want to be very mindful. And then when AI does what it does, you go back in and you review it to make sure that it actually does sound like you. It's still the flow, it still has that genuine personality that people want to see and hear about, right? Not necessarily coming from AI. We want it to come from you as an individual and the person behind the computer, right? The person behind the resume. So you use AI almost like, again, as we mentioned, like as a tool to review and then also to revise, maybe some wording. Maybe you can't find a word if you didn't, you looked at a thesaurus and you're not really pleased with that, or you looked at for synonyms or what have you, and you're not really pleased with the choices that it's given you. Maybe check with AI and say, hey, I'm looking for a word that can complement what I've done a little bit better than the word that I'm using, right? You got to just be specific. Tell AI what you want it to do for you, and it'll do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. You're very welcome. All right, everyone. It is now 7:23. So come back at 7:33 and we'll get started on a second half on our class. Thank you. We're gonna move right along because we have some activities we want to get through tonight. We want to make sure you guys have time to get through them, and just have some fun. All right. So without any further ado, go on and turn them cameras on so we can see your faces, and let's go. All right. So let's look at a couple of different resumes, right? Some example resumes, and tell me, based on what you see, you'll see, some good and some bad, but you tell me why they're identified as good versus bad, or, professional versus unprofessional, if you will. Okay. Here we go. So here are the first two examples. Okay. It's a little bit blurry. I apologize for that. When I stretched it out on the screen, it kind of pixelated a little bit, but you get the idea, right? So here on the left-hand side of the screen, we have Lisa Miranda. Okay. This is her resume. Okay. This is her summary, academic details, certificates. Okay. Date of joining. That's Lisa. And then, sorry, I can't see the, all right. And then this person here, I can't see the name because the bar is blocking it, but all right. So tell me what you think about this resume to the left versus this resume to the right, and why the one on the left is identified as unprofessional, incorrect, wrong. Just give me one example why you think.
I think the one to the left is wrong because for starters, she gave a summary, and I don't think we're meant to give it like a summary. I think we're meant to go in details, like you said, on like one, there's no personal information. There's really no like education and like your experiences. She didn't list them out. She just put them in paragraphs, and it's just so compiled. So if I was reading that and I just looked at it, I wouldn't want to go ahead and read it because it's just all put together and jam packed in there.
Okay. And what should you put? And we didn't go through this yet, but I'm gonna ask to see if you know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. What should that be replaced with? So it should be called a summary. It should really be called what? We said it earlier in the class. Actually, in tonight's class, some of the things that we identify that you would learn, they're called what? For us, like our what is what we're looking for you to get out of today's class. If that makes any sense. So objective, and just for the sake of time, I don't know if anybody put it in the
Sorry,
chat.
Layla put it in the chat.
Oh, good. All right. Yes, great, Layla. Objective, absolutely. Yes, so that should be replaced with objective, okay? What else? If we talked about active and passive voice, what did they put in here that is incorrect as well?
She repeatedly used I and like I know like there's like a little like tricks with past tense when you use past tense, but she said I just finished, I studied, like I assisted, instead of like just being straight to the point in a sense.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. So remember, we talked about active and passive. We also talked about not using your pronoun as opposed to using the action verb itself, right? So keeping you at the forefront, but also making sure though that that action verb is what is first. So it's already implied when you say created created a training document that that cut down 20 hours of work time for 50 employees, successfully, having a better turnaround time, or, less of a turnover, whatever the case may be, right? You want to get to the point, but you don't want to put I in. It's implied in the resume, at the top of the resume. Why? Because the person's name is at the top of the resume. So I understand that I'm reading about you. I don't need you to continue to repeat I. So absolutely. I'm sorry, who said that? I'm trying to look at all the names again.
Layla.
Layla. Thank you, Layla, so much. Yeah, so also, and go on and write this down. Let's go on and write this down just in case we don't get to it in that much detail. We want to make sure that you guys have the order. For a professional resume, your general standard resume, your order should be, you ready? You're going to have your contact information first, which she did. Your contact information should include your name, your email address, and your phone number. And that is whether it's a student resume with volunteer work, right, extracurriculars and so on, or a professional resume with work experience. You want to have your work experience, your education. Once again, remember what I said though, your rule of thumb when you're a student, what goes first? Obviously, in the absence of work experience, you're putting your education followed by your volunteerism, or volunteer work rather, excuse me, and then your skills, or no hobbies, just like your skills. Okay, so work experience, education, or flip, vice versa, depending on student versus professional. Okay, and your skills. Okay, your resume should be in reverse chronological order. What does that mean?
Like not in the order of the way that your resume like happened, kind of, I think.
Okay, so expand on that for me a little bit. What do you mean?
I was just gonna say that because you said reverse chronological, I'm thinking chronological, like the way like events happen. In reverse, I'd assume that it'd be the opposite of that.
Yeah, so your most recent to the least recent, right? So with chronological, it's from the beginning to now. But in reverse chronological, it's now and then on from there, right? So in your resume, you want to put the most recent experience you've had. And your dates, you can, the dates are incorrect. There's so many things that are wrong on here. So if you look to the right though, this one is a little bit more, it's more correct in that you have I would have put the dates on the same line. I would have also put the placement of the location of the business to the right of the whatever so this would be here. So where it says data science intern, that's essentially the title of that particular individual, right? So I can't see the name, but I think it's Lisa, I don't know. But this individual, right? This was their title for this particular business, a place of employment. So I would have put, and that's just me, and just based on resumes that I've worked on in the past and that I've reviewed in the past. I would put it all on one line. So the date, again, reverse chronological order from most recent to least recent. How many years? How many years are we looking for of experience? No more than
10 or 7.
Yeah. 7 to 10. Yes. Okay. We kind of try to, in this new day, in this new era, 7 is more like it. But, if you have just that much experience and it is relevant, you could very well stick with the 10 as well. All right. And then you see how they have the experience. Again, this is a professional resume. So you have experience, education, any certifications. So if you guys listen, when you finish this class, guess what you're going to be able to put on your resume? You have a micro certification in this class. Did you know that? Did you know that you are already micro certified in the fundamentals series of this program? And once you complete the advanced, you will also have a separate micro certification, a mini cert for this particular class that you can now put on your resume. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is correct. So let's move right along here. Okay, I skipped over the other one because it's pretty much the same. What is wrong with this resume here? Why would we say the one on the right is incorrect and the one on the left is not?
No one even includes a picture.
Okay. Yeah, not just the picture, but the whole design. So it's advised that you stick with simple. Less is more. Sometimes people, recruiters, and even the system itself, the data tracking system, if you're putting in a resume that has all of this extra background, these extra background photos and your photo, and it's aligned a certain way, and it could actually throw the system off, and it may just kick your resume out altogether and just disqualify it altogether because it's too much. Depending on the type of job you're going for, right? It doesn't always it's not always the case for every situation, right? It really does depend. So if you're going for a job in maybe, let's say, arts, right, or a fashion institute, or an art gallery, it may be that this is what they're looking for, right? Something to show your creative side. Not necessarily just in the work that you've done, but let me see it, show me through your resume. Let me see what it looks like. So again, every situation is going to determine what type of resume you want to have. And that's why you want to have various versions of that resume. But rule of thumb is to stick with simple. One thing I don't really care for are the sub bullets here. But this is, again, this looks like more of like, financial background, someone with financial background where they have like sub bullets. They have the main bullets of what they've done, and then they have sub bullets to kind of, expand on that even more. So, whatever. It's still professional. I wouldn't prefer it for my eyes anyway. But yes, in this case, again, it's wrong. not so wrong, but in the sense of when you're looking for a professional for just, you know, your general standard resume, simple is best. Less is more. Any questions? All right, tell me about this right here. Take about 2 minutes to read the top and bottom tiles, and then tell me, again, going back to some of what we already discussed in this class, tell me which one you think is good and which one you think is better. Take about a minute to read and then let me know either in the chat or unmute it which one you think is good or which one you think is better and why.
I think that the second one is good because it does everything. It has active words. However, I think the first one's better because there's data to it. There's numbers quantifying like
there's that word. Yes, you just used the key word. There. Okay, up. Before I jump in. All right, anybody else? Okay, so
you
Kendall
have in
said
the chat.
Yep, the second is better because it's more to the point. Okay. The first one adds more stats about what you contributed to the business. That is correct. That is a good point, Kendall. So that's why we said good versus better, right? It's not that it's bad, but how can we make it better? So yes, they got to the point, but what did we also talk about when you're getting to the point in your active action verbed bullet points? You also want to do what? Where it starts with the Q.
Quantify, like
Quantify. Absolutely, right? You want to give numbers, you want to give data, you want to give proof. Like when they say prove it, like, okay, say less, right? Let me prove it to you what I've done. So yes, the second one is good, but the first one is better. There we go. Okay. Good job, guys. All right. So everyone should have received, and I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because now we're going to get into the good stuff. You guys are going to have about, I'd say, yes, until about 8:05. Until about 8. Trying to time it right. I want to give you guys 15 minutes, but I don't want to give too much time. Let's say about 10 minutes. You're going to have about 10 minutes to review the resume that I emailed you guys. You only need one person, have one representative per group to speak on the behalf your guys' behalf for your group. But I want you to review the resume that was sent to you, okay, as a group. And I want you to identify any errors, any flaws, anything. And I want you to make it better. If you want to plug it into AI, hey, do it. But you have 10 minutes to review it. But before you plug it into AI, let me see you do the work first. I want you to try it first. I want you to try to do the work first. You can do AI on another day, but try it first. And I want you guys to work together to make that resume go from what it is to what's going to set it apart from everyone else. Okay. So does everyone have the resume open? Only one person needs to work from it, but I want you guys to have it open so you guys can follow along with whoever the lead person is going to be in that group. All right. And we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7. So we're going to do a group of 3 and a group of 4. We'll have 2 groups. All right. That way you guys have more of an advantage of different perspectives. Okay. So we have a group of 3 and a group of 4. Mr. Toy, are you able to split these up for me?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So does everyone understand the ask here? Everyone understand what the task is at hand? You understand the assignments? Do we get it? So when you get the resume, and again, if you don't, if someone didn't receive it, go on and just share it. You're not going to be able to share your screen. That's why I send it to everyone individually. You won't be able to share your screen, so make sure you guys all have it open so you're looking at the same thing. When you split off into your groups, you select the group leader, and then that group leader will type in, as you guys are going through, what to change, what to enhance, how to make it better, what to identify, what you've identified. I also want to hear about what you've identified as some errors in, if there were any, some errors in that particular resume, okay? All right, so it's now 7:50.
Okay, sorry, I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, 7:50, so we'll give it till about 8:05. All right, 15 minutes, we good with that? All right, and if you guys are done beforehand, go on and just come right back in so we can move, we can get through it. All right, and then we'll get to our next activity. So we'll be back at 8:05. I think we still have a few more still in the chat, or excuse me, in the breakout rooms. So
yeah, Michael.
Aurora, Excel, and Michael. Yeah, all
Mhm.
three of them I see. Okay. So we'll wait, but what'd you guys think of the resume? Was it hard? Was it easy? Was it all that you thought it would be? What'd you think?
I don't think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. That's okay. I speak a lot of.
I was gonna say I don't think it was hard, but I actually think it was pretty easy. It's just that the fact there was like not a lot to build on. There was like nothing there, so that was kind of difficult because you have to like kind of not make stuff up, but like be creative. So
yeah, fill in the gaps because there were a lot of them, right? Yeah, good observation. All right, so we'll wait. Looks like they'll be coming back in about 40 more seconds. So before we go any further, just so that you don't have to repeat yourself and what you guys observed, we'll wait for the rest of your classmates to come back.
How was your last week? Because you asked everybody else, but you never answered it yourself.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. It was very busy, but it was equally very enlightening and very rewarding to be in that space. I was able to network with a lot of local and state officials, elected officials. And so being an elected official now, that's going to be my thing. So it was really rewarding. I ate a lot, probably gained about 6 pounds. So, trying to work that off. But and very tiring. We were up from early morning to super late at night at meetings, events, and networking. And so, but thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. This is a new venture for me. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's see. Okay, we're just waiting for them to come back. All right, here they are. Okay. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And do we have a name for our teams here? We got team 1 and team 2. I heard you guys are very competitive in the last class and you played my favorite game and I missed it. Darn it. But we are going to go through the resume that you all had the privilege of reviewing and hopefully rewriting, right? And making it, enhancing it a little bit more even. All right. So let me hear a little bit of your sort of perspective, your takeaways from it, your thoughts. Give me a little bit. I heard a little bit from, I didn't see if it was Kendall. So Kendall said it wasn't hard. Just to recap what she said, because she mentioned it before you guys got back on, some of you got back on the line. Kendall, you want to repeat what you said about your experience with the resume and what you thought about it?
Oh yes, I was just saying how it wasn't like particularly hard, but it was just like a bit difficult to get creative and, like you said, fill in the gaps, like because there wasn't much there, so you definitely had to like use your brain.
So you just identified the major flaw. There wasn't even much there to begin with, right? So there was that. What else? What about you, Aurora?
I basically agreed with I agree with what Kendall's saying too. It was mostly with my group. We tried to like fill in kind of skills that he would have relating to the things that he already put, like, and we were kind of confused with some of the things like with Microsoft because we were thinking that was like computer ran, but we used those like the little bit that we had to our advantage, hopefully. But I think we did pretty good.
Okay, awesome. And what about you, Michael, before we go into it?
Yeah, I agree. Like you just gotta work with what you got, especially with like limited experience. You kind of just have to like put into correct words, word everything correctly to try and enhance what you have as much as you got.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go. Team 1, team 2. Let me see if I can I'm gonna exit out of my presentation really quickly so that I can pull up the resume so that everyone has it, because I don't know that everyone had the privilege of seeing it. And it's quite interesting. All right, give me 1 second. Let me just here we go. I'm gonna open up my version because it's the instructor version. All right, and okay, here we go. All right, just so that everyone's following along. Here we go. Okay. So here's what we got to work with, guys. Ladies and gentlemen. So take me through this process right here. Team A, team 1. What's your name for your teams?
Are we team 1?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who came back first? Team 1 will be the team who came back first. Okay. All right. Who is that? That's Kendall?
Yes.
All right. So we had Kendall, we had Snigda, we had, who else was in your group?
Melina.
Melina.
And me and Layla. It was Layla, Singa, Melina, and Kendall.
Okay. All right. So take it away, team 1. The 18.
So for the objective, we switched it to make a contribution to a job that meets financial needs and has good hours. For education, we switched that to maintain exceptional grades and quality work. For the fast food place, we did
Wait.
Oh.
What else? What else about the education though? That's it?
What?
Yeah. Well, do you put TBD for graduated?
What does TBD mean? I thought that was like
to be determined.
That just graduated.
No, that means to be determined. Like, do you not know when you're graduating?
Had to, like, do that?
Yeah. Well,
I thought
mean,
that
if you
was
did,
just
okay,
John
wait.
Doe. He just
you know
didn't
what
graduate.
though? No, but listen, I'm telling you, but you should. First of all, I'm giving you too much information. Sorry. Okay, go ahead, keep going. Note to self, team 2 or team
So
B.
were we supposed to do high school name and like actually put a real high school?
Anywhere that you find errors or flaws. So just to give you,
So we could say,
okay.
We could say graduating class of 2028.
Yes, or you can say anticipated graduation date 2024 or something like that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So graduation date to be determined in 2028, and currently maintaining exceptional grades and
take that TBD out altogether. I'm just gonna throw that out there for you.
Oh,
Don't put
wait,
TBD
okay.
period.
Graduating
Because it's either gonna be TBD
2028.
or it's 2028.
Yeah, I'm just like tripping up my words. Okay. Graduation 2028 and currently maintaining exceptional grades and handing in quality work. For worked at McDonald's 2022, 2023. Operated cash register, which is also experiencing customer service. Then they also did some housekeeping and cleaning around. For this intern,
that's how you put that on your resume? That's how it's worded on the resume? That's how you updated it to be worded like that? I'm just asking. I'm just a fly on the wall. Just want to know whether or not
operated cash register and
come on, team, help out.
House kept. Okay. Now our intern office. This is Apple intern office. We handled quality paperwork in an organized manner, which maintained the office flow.
Okay.
Our skills are efficient with customer service, Microsoft technology, and working well in group settings. Our awards, we have certification in business, which from middle school, which impacted our future schooling career currently.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have anything to add? Because we're going to go over what I identified. And after I plugged it in, what ChatGPT identified that I didn't even identify. And I put my responses and ChatGPT responses together, formulate a nice outline of all the things right and wrong with this. Mostly wrong. Anybody want to add anything to it before we go on to Team B? No? All right, let's go, Team B.
Okay. Oh, unless one of I'll do some of it and then my partners can. Okay.
Yeah, however you guys want to do it.
So what's actually okay? One of them can go first.
All right, for the objective, we had seek a career that utilizes our skills and qualifications. Graduated, projected graduation 2025. Participated in relevant coursework and sustained good grades. For experience, we had assumed responsibilities at a high volume restaurant, directed customers at the cash register, and handled janitorial work.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. And then for internet off, sorry. Or did Michael do that already? Oh,
no,
sorry.
you just did the first work experience. So we're on to the second one.
Okay. Oh, sorry. For internet office company, we have I don't know, I don't have it up here. Okay. We said that he was quickly learned with the systems and technologically educated in the field. And then for I mix it up with skills, I'm sorry. For skills, technologically educated, team player, people person, quick learner. And then awards, we have acquired a certificate in technological, technology talent show. I kind of connected that to the Microsoft because I was confused on that. And yeah.
Okay. That's it?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. We got anybody else? Anybody want to chime in and help out? So give me some things you identified. Because I identified a whole lot of things on here that y'all didn't even mention. Starting with the contact, based on what we already know. What's missing from the contact information?
Email.
Email. Yeah. Very important, right? How they gonna contact you? Most companies are not gonna call you. They're gonna email you first. They call you when they're ready for an interview, right? And all of the above. So let's go. Anybody have any other thoughts before we go to the next page of this, where I kind of outlined my thoughts and coupled with AI thoughts. Again, good resource for that too. All right, so here we go. Issues for students to find and correct. Here we go. Email address, we talked about that, right? Your objective statement, it is vague and unprofessional, right? Remember, again, we talked about how you have to use and avoid using those vague phrases like I really want to learn something that's going to enhance my ability to do better as a person. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be very specific about what it is. What is your objective? Today in this class, we spoke about what our objectives were and what we want you guys to walk away with at the end of this class. Those were specific. Those were achievable. They're in some cases, they're measurable, right? The whole SMART, right? We talked about that. So a lot of you got to be specific. Motivated high school students seeking to develop skills in customer service. There it is right there. And teamwork through part-time employment. So you got to be specific. Okay. Education, high school should be spelled. Okay. Just little nuances, but certainly not nuances when it comes to actually going through your resume and making sure that your grammar and spelling is correct and on point, right? Graduated, expected June 25. We talked about that. I like how you use projected. Another word, right? Synonym, expected, projected. Okay, avoid vague phrases. Okay, your experience section, just some things to note to self for you guys. You've already done it, but now here are some more recommendations for a better resume, right? Skill section, be specific, Microsoft. Replace rather Microsoft with proficient in Microsoft, right? Don't just put Microsoft or good at Microsoft, right? What does that even mean? I'm good at Microsoft. Are you proficient? How well are you when it comes to Microsoft? And when you say Microsoft has a bunch of different sub platforms. So you have Microsoft as the parent organization, and then you have all of the various platforms under that. So you have Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. You have, right? So make sure that you spell those out. Articulate what it is you want everyone or your reviewers to know about you. Once again, award section. You don't want to spell it out. Or rather, in this case, there are no real sentences that are necessary. You just want to list the award that you received. Okay? You don't have to put the certificate in middle school, but you can just put what the certificate was. So when you receive this micro-credential in business resume writing, or this micro-credential in business and entrepreneurship advanced series, right? That's your micro certification. That's what you're going to put. But it'll be listed out on your certification, what you can actually put. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here. And then your references. Remember, we talked about that earlier today. That's a separate document. But again, references available upon request. What does that mean? That means that most times they're going to request it and you need to have it available. Make sure that you're ready to provide that to your recruiters should they call you in for an interview. Okay, or should they want additional information from you because you didn't provide that already. All right. So these are just some tips and some, corrections to make. Just some things to note when you're going through your resume, because you guys will need to at least start on your resume. It doesn't need to be a finished version, but it does need to be a draft. So make sure that you have that available by the end of the series. And again, all you got to do is pull a template from Canva, and at the end of this presentation, you guys will see all of the various tools that are available to you guys, okay, as it pertains to the resources that you can use for templates. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to close out to go back to my presentation. Okay, so yeah, not a whole lot here. Let me just to close out on my presentation that I worked so hard for. Questions? I think that was it, right? Yeah. Any questions? Hay pregunta. Any questions? Here are some references, and I would take this down. I would screenshot it. I would do whatever you need to do to make sure that you have these listed, because these are a lot of the resources, or a lot of where I got my information are from different resources that I utilize. And you can do that as long as you cite them. And you guys in high school, you should know what that means when you cite a reference. You're basically giving them their rightful acknowledgement for using some of the content that they make available to us, okay? But Zeddy is a great platform to get like resume templates. Also Canva and Google Docs. Those are really great you can create, and those are free. Like you can get a free Canva account, a free Google Docs account, or Google Drive, right? All the Google Docs with your Word documents, or like what would be comparable to the Word and Microsoft Word, but in Google, all of those. But you also get templates from there as well. Microsoft actually has. So if you go Microsoft Word and you search for templates and you type in resume, Microsoft Office also has, templates as well. And this is our proprietary statement. You should see this every class you're in. I won't go over that. And thank you. So at this point, to close out, because I know we only have a few minutes left. All right. I'm going to ask you guys to, let me get this set up really quickly. All right. So just bear with me, because I've not used Kahoot in so long, but we're going to close out in a Kahoot game. 10 questions, but it's basically just an overview of what was covered in tonight's class. Okay, so if you guys can type in Kahoot.it, okay, and I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see it. All right. Okay, here we go. All right. So we're going to do a resume writing overview quiz. Okay, anybody familiar with Kahoot? Everybody should be familiar with Kahoot. That's like one of the platforms. It's similar to the Mentimeter. There's all these different platforms out there. So we're going to go on and get started. I'm going to ask you all to either scan the QR code, and give me 1 second, because I don't know if I shared my sound. I don't know if you guys can still hear my sound. So, oh yeah, okay, it's still sharing. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, you guys know about this, huh? Go on and put that game pin in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we got all 7. Here we go. You ready? Let's go. All right. Resume writing 101. You will have 20 seconds to answer each question. What is the purpose of a resume? To provide a summary of your skills, to showcase your best dance moves. Ooh, okay. Good job. We got 6 and 1 who tell your life story in detail. Not quite, but good try. All right, here we go. All right, Snigdha for the win so far. Here we go. Question number 2. Which of these should not be included in your resume? A professional email address, your GPA, your favorite hobbies. Good job. Okay. GPA actually can be listed as long as it's above a 3.0. Okay, so we didn't cover that at all, actually. So that I'll give you that one. But yes, your GPA can be listed in your resume as long as it's above a 3.0. All right, thank you, Miss Tiana. All right. Oh, Michael just moved up for the win. Okay, here we go. Which is written in active voice? was responsible for managing schedules. Schedules were managed by me. The schedules were effectively handled. Managed schedules effectively. Oh, yes. Okay, 6-1. Seems to be a common theme here. 6-1. All right, let's go. See who we have in the running. Okay, Michael, moving on up. Good job. How long should a high school student's resume be? If any of y'all get this wrong, we're going to have a talk. All right. Good job. 7 out of 7. Yes. All right, Michael. Good job. Here we go. 5 more. Which section of the resume highlights jobs or roles you've had? Remember, jobs or roles you've had. Good job. Okay, 6-1 again. All right. Okay, Michael, showing out. Let me hear you. Let me see you. What is the best way to describe your experience on a resume? Okay, this 6-1. What is happening here? Seems to be our theme. All right, use bullet points. Correct. Go ahead, Michael. I love it. All right, why is tailoring your resume to the job important? Okay, we got another 6-1. All right, to show you understand the job requirements. Great job, everybody. All right, Michael, for the win. He's coming out. He's ready. What should you do before submitting your resume to a job? Yes, good job. All right, let's see. Michael coming out on top. Yes, the only guy in the class. I love it. All right, here we go. 9 of 10. If you don't have formal work experience, what can you include in your resume? Yes, good job. Volunteer work, school projects, and extracurricular activities. All right. Ooh. Nigga just knocked him off his pedestal. Uh-oh. All right. 10 for the win. Let's go. Which of these is an example of a strong action verb for a resume? Yes, let's go. Okay. All right, let's see. Resume writing 101. Who got it? Okay. Go ahead, Layla, top 3. Michael, okay. And I love this. Yes. Good job.
They fought for
everybody.
that.
Good job, Michael, or Snigda leader with 93.91, Michael 93.70, and Layla 83.09. Good job, everybody. Good job. That was awesome. All right. I got to turn my sound off because I don't know why it's not still playing. But great job, everybody. Hopefully this class helped you. It gave you a bit more perspective on how to create a great resume, an effective, efficient, a superb resume, stand you out above the rest resume. And we are here to support and assist you with that, should you need it. That being said, I want to thank you for your time. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, or otherwise that I might ask, that I might answer for you? Anything? Going once, going twice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure meeting with you this evening, talking with you all, learning more about you, and going through this resume journey together. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And that's it. Tomorrow's it. And then we have our end of course session. So you guys have been a phenomenal group. You really, really have. And I want to thank you so much for your active participation today and just for being awesome. Ms. Latoya, I'm going to hand the virtual mic over to you for the, I believe it's in the chat already. Oh, no.
Survey's in the chat.
For the survey. Okay, awesome.
She's
that doesn't sound like Miss Latoya. Your voice got deep, Miss Latoya. That's Professor JR, everybody.
I'll drop it in here.
Okay.
Surveys in the chat.
Awesome.
Drop it in the chat when you're done.
Excellent job, everyone. Thank you so much. And I can stick around if anyone has any added questions you'd like to ask. I can certainly stick around for a few more minutes if you want to go through anything before you start working on your own resume. You will need to have a sample provided at the end of this series. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's a work in progress. All right, good job, Layla. Good night, everybody. If you're done with the survey, you can drop off unless you have any questions for me.
Have a nice day.
It's been an amazing audience. Have a good evening. I will see you back tomorrow evening, 6:30. Last class.
Good night. Have a great day.
You
Have a
as
nice
well.
night.
Good night, everybody. All right. Good night, guys.